Hey, welcome to Watch and Waiting on the Lord. Today is Tuesday. What day is it? The 7th. Pardon my wash there. I have to let it run. It's a big wash, so pardon that. I'm going to read some stories today, some news stories, and then I'm going to give you a scripture that's being fulfilled right now that many people don't talk about in the Old Testament, and I'll leave it in the description box. It's very interesting because it's happening right now. I just wanted to say, I hope you watched that last sermon that Mark Driscoll gave about Hamas in the end days. There is a lot of information to take in there, and it's you should know it. When it comes to Islam, okay, when it comes to all this stuff you see with the Muslims, you have to know this. They have the Quran, they have another book, I don't know what it is. But those books, I think you have to have one with the other. Mark Driscoll in that sermon explains what they believe, and I'm not that learned yet. I haven't, like, I'd have to watch the video again to see, but basically they believe that, let's just say, the things in Genesis, Abraham, Rebecca, Isaac, all these things that happened are in reverse. They're backwards. So all I have to say about it is that it's anti-Christ, right? That's anti-Christ. Maybe that's not the perfect definition, but it's about Christ, right? So it is anti. It's against God, whatever. Let's just take, for instance, what did it say? That the promise was to Ishmael or to Esau. You know, they say things the opposite way. And you have to remember that, what was it, year 600 that Muhammad came? They would have had access to the Bibles, they would have read the Bibles, they would have known these things. We had our prophecies first. They drew upon those and made prophecies that were like within an inch of ours, like the same things. So they're the ones who had the benefit to come later and say, oh, we say this, but we said it first, like by 2,500 years and like by like 600 years. Okay, so this is a first one here. I'll also show you my car too. I'm done, except for putting on door handles. I did the decals yesterday, and I put the spoiler on yesterday. I'll do it after I read this, actually. I had to make some parts myself because I buy them from two different places so far. Revell, if Revell models, it's one of my interests. They sometimes don't send, some parts aren't in their little things. You know, like they come on like a little thing like this, and sometimes the parts are missing. They're different parts, and so you have to be artistic. You have to go make your own parts. So Zelensky breaks down on NBC. Putin's a GD terrorist. I don't want to say that word, you know. It's blasphemy. Either the US will send money or send their children to fight. I heard that he's acting like Adolf Hitler was in his last days, you know, like ordering imaginary armies around and stuff. I don't know. I don't think Putin's a good person, okay? I don't think he's a good person. He kills people, he murders people. So I don't look at any of these people in any way. Where there's corruption, there's nothing good. The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, presented an image of collapse who didn't hesitate to unleash insults against Putin, calling him an effing terrorist in an interview he gave to Meet the Press at the American network NBC News. Zelensky's in a bad psychological state after the non-approval of the financing of Ukraine by the Republicans. The interview given by the chief of the Ukraine General Staff, V. Zelensky, to The Economist and the critical publications of major Western media until now were his warm supporters. The West is now putting suffocating pressure on him to capitulate to Russia, and this was reflected in the interview he gave. So unless Putin decides to attack Poland or to whatever, I don't think he's trying to take over a lot of land, but that land that is there, the land that they're fighting over is worth trillions of dollars, just so you know. That's why there's a big war. It's not just about that, but that's one of the main reasons. Putin is a terrorist. When we asked if he ever feels defeated, the president of Ukraine responded saying, "I have a lot of power, but even if we feel strong and have a lot of energy, it doesn't mean that we want to fight all our lives because the cost is great, because war takes the best elements from us, the best heroes, men, women, and children. But we are not ready to give our freedom to this bloody terrorist Putin." So from what I hear, and I said in another video, Ukraine is oppressing the church there. I don't like that. If any place is doing that, they don't belong in NATO, they don't belong in the... Man, I'm not even for the European Union. These places, I don't like any of them. It's a globalist thing, I think. I think countries are good by themselves. That's what makes a country, and they'll shame you about that right now. Zelensky said he's not ready for talks with Russia unless Moscow withdraws its troops from Ukraine, stressing that the US knows that I'm not ready to talk to terrorists because their word is worth nothing. The Ukrainian president was commenting on reports that US and European officials have held talks with his administration to end the war with Russia, and they should. After a senior Ukrainian commander said this week that two militaries are locked in a war of attrition and seats. Currently have nothing to do with the Russians, and they know my position. And the Russians, by the way, are starting to build up ships and stuff around Africa. I heard, like, Tobruk. They're positioning themselves in the Middle East and China. He said, adding that they must leave our territory and only then that the world will be able to start diplomacy, as the conflict is in a difficult situation but not in dead end. So Zelensky then underlined that on the front line, this is not a secret. We have no anti-aircraft defense. For this reason, Russia controls the sky. If they control the whole sky, we can't move quickly until we have anti-aircraft defenses. The front line, more than 1,000 kilometers long, has moved for nearly a year, despite Ukraine's counteroffensive since June in an attempt to liberate occupied territory in the country's east and south. And there's just some commented here on X. Zelensky assured against the U.S. Either you will send money or you will send your children to fight. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has asked the U.S. for more funding to help his forces take on Russia, as he invited former President Donald Trump to visit his country to see for himself the scale of the conflict. And I understand the underlying causes. I think the U.S. was the one who caused all this going back to 2014. Putin was looking for a buffer state. That's what he was doing. He didn't want missiles on his borders everywhere. If you've ever seen that map of that, it's insane. But again, I'm not a supporter of, I'm just not a supporter of Putin, and I'll make that clear. Zelensky said U.S. troops could eventually be drawn into a wider European conflict with Russia if Washington doesn't increase its support. If Russia kills us all, it will attack NATO countries and you'll send your sons and daughters to fight. If we're defeated, there will be more and more Ukrainians and cases like those happening in the Middle East. And I feel he's using that, but he'll give tyranny a chance. We will give tyranny a chance, he said at another point, while accusing Russia of not caring how many kids are killed in the Middle East. Yep, but all it wants is to divide the world. That is true. Zelensky said, according to a transcript of an interview with the Meet the Press on NBC. Democratic U.S. President Joe Biden pushed Congress for a $106 billion spending bill, with most of the money earmarked to bolster Ukraine's defenses and the rest split between Israel, the Indo-Pacific, and for border protection. And what the U.S. is saying is this is just a drop in the bucket of money, really, of our defense budget, and we're killing Russians. That's what they're saying. At least Lindsey Graham was. Pardon me a second. I'm getting very breathless. I'm going to leave a song at the end of this. I ask you to listen to it. However, the Republican-led U.S. House of Representatives has proposed its own funding plan. He passed a bill last week to provide $14 billion in aid to Israel, but it didn't include any increase in aid to Ukraine. U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Democratic-controlled Senate majority, said he won't bring the House bill up for a vote, and Biden has vowed to veto it. In the broadcast interview, Zelensky invited Republican former U.S. Donald Trump to visit Ukraine to see the aftermath of the conflict following the Russian invasion in February 2022. You know, like, yeah, I'm not going to give my opinions on that, I guess. Trump, who is running for re-election in 2024 and is party's front runner for the nomination, presidential, has been sharply critical of U.S. support of Kiev and said he could end the war in 24 hours if re-elected. I bet he could. I'm just saying. I'm not going to say I support him or anything, but if he can come here, I will need 24 minutes to explain to Trump that he can't manage this war. He can't bring peace because of Putin. Who knows? Maybe he could. There's just a lot of, okay, there's that. Okay, I'm just going to read, yeah, I'll check the, actually, see if there's another story here. I have to, oh, there it is. Let's see how long this story is. It's just very short. Iran threatens the United States over Gaza. This is the 6th. They'll be hit hard if there's no truce. Our advice to Americans. You see the streets, man. I feel sorry for the Jews. I really do. You know, even if they don't believe in Jesus Christ, because it's only 2% of their population, you got to feel sorry for them, for their past history, for the, can you imagine if they're calling everyone home from around the world? I'd hope that you would stand up for a Jew if you could. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying put your life in danger. I'm just saying Iran said today that the U.S. will be severely hurt if Washington doesn't implement a ceasefire in Gaza. The country's defense minister said in a statement carried by the semi-official Tasnim news agency, "Our advice to the Americans is to immediately stop the war in Gaza and implement a ceasefire. Otherwise, they'll be hit hard," says Mohammed Reza Astiani. After the surprise attack by Hamas on the 7th, the Israelis seek to destroy the armed Palestinian organization. Iran considers the U.S. to be militarily involved in the conflict. And I'm glad they are. I'm glad they're defending them because, this is, Israel just couldn't do it on their own. I got this thought, and, I believe that, no, I can't tell that story, actually. I believe the U.S. has enough power to take on the world. Whether you believe me or not, that's what I believe. They do have enough power to do that. Imagine that they put themselves into Israel just to take it over. It's not a conspiracy theory or anything. I'm just saying imagine. So I'm going to read this. Actually, I'm going to take a sip here, and I'm going to show you my car. So I just don't have the door handles and just a couple small decals in, but I'll show you it. And I'm going to read Isaiah 41. I got to make sure the hood doesn't fall off because it's not it doesn't have a magnet. So again, some stuff didn't fit naturally, and I got super glue on the windshield so it fogs over, so I have to wait to get acetone to take it off. So this is a 1971 442W30. Yeah, there it is. You can see the decals on the tires and on the side. I didn't paint that on the side there, but I did on the hood, those stripes. You can see that there. And then I don't want that to fall off. You can see that there, and then I'll show you the underneath if I can. I'll take the hood off. It takes quite a while to do these things, especially when you're just learning to do them. All right, then there's the bottom there. I don't know how well you can see that. So you have to paint them all. You have to, you can paint them by hand. You can, but the car paint is spray painted, and you have to learn how to go back, how fast you move your hand back and forth, how far away from it, or you get it running and stuff. And it's the exact same as painting a car. That's the hood there. And you can see the hood clips. They didn't, well, I lost the other one. It's easy to lose parts. I lost parts there, so I had to make a little one myself. Okay, I'm going to read this and then stop this. So right now there's a prophecy happening in, I think it's Saudi Arabia. And I have to look further into it, but I've seen some videos of the proof. There's proof. I recommend you go look at this proof. A lot of people are videotaping where this is happening. Have you heard about, there's been a lot of rain, a lot of floods in places all over the globe, but it's happening in the desert in Saudi Arabia. They show pictures from 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. Go look at those comparisons. They are on the internet of how green from a satellite view Saudi Arabia is. And boy, it's turning, Saudi Arabia is turning green. I'm not kidding you. It's insane. And I'm going to read you this whole thing. It's long. Wait, maybe I'll just read you this part. I'll just start from verse 11 in Isaiah 41. Behold, all those who were incensed against you shall be ashamed and disgraced. They shall be as nothing. Okay, so the prophecy is that things are going to grow. There's going to be pools of water. There's going to be vegetation. And the reason I said the Quran and their surahs and whatever else other book they use, they have a prophecy too, but they're mirroring Isaiah 41 because they know it. And it says there will be stuff in the wilderness. They copy our stuff, okay? Behold, all those who are incensed against you shall be ashamed and disgraced. This is starting from verse 11, Isaiah 41. They shall be as nothing. And those who strive with you shall perish. You shall seek them and not find them. Those who contend with you, those who war against you, shall be as nothing, as a non-existent thing. For I, the Lord your God, will hold your right hand, saying to you, fear not, I'll help you. Fear not, you worm Jacob, you men of Israel. I will help you, says the Lord. And your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, behold, I'll make you into a new threshing sledge with sharp teeth. You shall thresh the mountains and beat them small, and make the hills like chaff. You shall winnow them, the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. You shall rejoice in the Lord and glory in the Holy One of Israel. I'm getting at it. The poor and needy seek water, but there is none. Their tongues fail from thirst. I, the Lord, will hear them. I, the God of Israel, will not forsake them. I will open rivers in desolate heights and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry land springs of water. I will plant in the wilderness the cedar and the acacia tree, the myrtle and the olive tree. I will set in the desert the cypress tree and the pine and the box tree together, that they may see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of the Lord has done this, and the Holy One of Israel has created it. The Dead Sea is turning living. There's fish in some places. So this isn't just Saudi Arabia, but it's happening in Saudi Arabia. Springs are popping up in the middle of the desert. You can look that up. So this is being fulfilled right now. I believe they say there's 2,500 prophecies. There's 500 left to be fulfilled, and most of those are the day of the Lord. So pretty cool stuff. And I'll leave you a song at the end here, one that comforted me in a time of a lot of trouble in my life. This song, I love this song. Take a listen at the end. God bless. Have a good day.